Hello everybody, Iain Robson here, and welcome back to Manchester. Alright, we had a couple of things going on today. If you recall from the previous episode, we were working away on the forage harvester, and I realized something that I had last when I started this map, but didn't buy it again. And I think we should, which is this little guy right here. So we're going to go ahead and buy that. It's just a little compactor. It can be really helpful for compacting your silage, obviously. And I have the big case IH over here. So what we're going to do is going to hook it up to this guy. Probably unnecessary considering the actual weight of this in real life. But in this game, I think it might be necessary. Like I said, probably overkill though. But every little bit helps when you're compacting. So I'm compacting between unloading, I suppose, is what we describe it as. There we go. So this thing was broken for a while, and that was because of the drive control mod, but it should be fine now. So I'm just going to lower it down, just add a little bit of extra weight to compact this little bit right here, as you can see. So we want to make sure the local compaction is at 100% everywhere. So as you can see, as it goes over different sections, it'll change 74, 75, and this little compactor will help increase that a little bit, because you want to try to make sure, like I said, every section is fully compacted. Anyway, this guy is almost full again, and let's hop into our combine over here, or our forage harvester, and fire this guy up. So what we'll do is we'll continue taking off our corn here, and one of the little tricks when you're using a forage harvester and you're driving the forage harvester is if you go into this section of courseplay, you can start and stop the driver. So if you want to maneuver without him following you, you can do that really easily. So for example, I'll start him up again, and now he's going to follow me once again. So that's one of the neat little tricks for when you're doing the combining yourself, whether it's in this scenario or anything else. It's one of the nice little added functions of it. And it's just right in this section right here where you stop the driver, send him home. You can actually adjust the side as well, although sometimes the driver will still go to whoops, he's done. Sometimes the driver will still go to the side you don't want him to go to. So alright, let's hop into this guy. He's currently compacting. Let me just stop the driver. He just set on a course that goes back and forth, basically. That's all he does. And as you can see, having this little compactor in the back does help a little bit, even though it seems like it probably wouldn't. It does increase the speed at which you can compact quite a lot, actually. So there we go. The fence should be coming around. Wow, that was pretty good timing. And let's see how this guy works. Is he going to drive through? He should just unload, and he's going to drive through. Okay. So sometimes what happens is the reason why that doesn't work properly. He's driving like a madman. Sometimes the reason why it doesn't work properly is because the actual bunker itself is a little short, and it doesn't notice there's a trigger there. That can be the reason why sometimes. And there are various other reasons why. One of the ways you can kind of avoid this altogether is if you put a waiting point right in the middle of your bunker. That can make a huge difference as well. But technically it's actually better if I manually do the unloading here. Otherwise it'll just create a whole ton of problems. Alright. We'll drive through once more. What we should actually do is get that case to go through, and he should compact that. And this is kind of one of the interesting functions of this particular mod, is having to compact between unloads. And as you can see, having that compactor on there really increases the speed at which you can compact. Especially when you're reversing over, it works really well as well. Doesn't always work as nicely as this. Sometimes you do run into other problems, so it is nicer when you have a big tractor. Sometimes tractors with big front ends like this one, right now it won't be a problem, but as you get as the pile gets bigger and bigger, it does become a problem, so keep that in mind. I think there are some silage blades out there now as well that you could easily get to make silage, although those typically are you tend to see them a bit more in some of the not the open bunkers like this, but ones with the concrete wall as well. That's where you tend to see it a bit more. Not too bad. I'm just going to take over here. It's a bit faster than having Courseplay do it all the time. Not always, but it can be helpful. I guess you can just be a bit more accurate. Technically, I don't know if you need to go through all the individual areas. It's like it's broken down into smaller sections, and that's how it kind of works. So it's like, here's a section, here's a section, here's a section. That's how, as far as I understand, that's how it works, so. 95. And whenever you go over it, it's always helpful. Just, I don't know, I always drive over every little spot. I don't know if it actually makes a difference or not. But I like to think it does, I guess. That's the reason why I tend to do it. There we go, 99%. This is good. So we'll back this tractor up, and then we'll go through another load. There we go. We'll hop into the Fent again, which is over here, and we'll unload the rest of it into that bunker, and then we'll continue. So it does make silage a bit more of a process. It makes it not so streamlined. So keep that in mind. It's different for everybody. Some people like making silage, some people don't. So it's funny, I haven't seen a whole heap of this style of bunker in Canada. You do see it from time to time, usually in bigger dairy operations or big beef operations. You tend to see this a bit more, but I haven't seen many of these. I think there's only one farm that really comes to mind that I've seen it on, and it's a big farm. I think that's the reason why. Alright, let's see, where are you going to go if I put you on? Oh, he's going to go back, that's good. And we'll set this guy back on his way when that Fent goes by. Perfect. And then we'll hop back into this guy and request the driver. Hopefully he'll come by soon. I'll just see what happens. I'm just going to pause for a quick sec here, and I'll wait for him to arrive. Alright, so he's returned. Let's go ahead and finish up this pass here. Excellent. Yeah, but I don't know why. Last time I tried to use a forage harvester, I totally forgot that I had that mod installed where you had to only you could still make silage, but you had to do it at a certain time or a certain growth stage, I should say. So when you have it installed, you actually make silage out of the corn when it's green as opposed to dried out. So it's one of the funny things you just forget about. I don't make silage a lot, so maybe that's the reason why I totally forgot about it. But something I should take into consideration, I suppose. Anyhow, set to automatic. So I'm just looking at the combines, the header set, the height of it, I should say. So what happens is I have it set up so it's a mod. What it basically does is it adjusts the header height would be the best way to say it. So what it does is it as you go over like land that's like higher and whatnot, like for example if I were to go up this hill or side crossways or on this hill, it would allow me to adjust the height of the header, thereby reducing any kind of problems associated with the header not working. Oh really? This is one of the funny things when you stop the driver, because I'm kind of close to him. There he goes. Because I'm kind of close to him, he thinks he's still in range, is what he's thinking, and it creates problems sometimes. Ah well. So what we'll do is we will do this pass, and then we'll finish up the other pass. And I think what we'll do is we'll change directions. Doesn't really make a difference, I don't think, but now we have a little bit of headway on the other side there, so it shouldn't be a problem. I think this header can do, I think it's 8 rows of corn at the same time, roughly. That's what it looks like, at least. I got 4 on the left and 4 on the right. As long as I keep my little, I don't know, whatever this thing's called, the separator or something, in the middle, it should be fine. Should be being the keyword. Nope, I'm missing some. Yeah. You can tell I'm driving one, eh? This is the reason why I don't do this very often. Wow. I don't know. I could unload, which would probably be more accurate, I guess, but we'll see what happens. Nice little, I don't know why, but this is probably one of my favorite maps. Like, it really, it's fun to play on, it's enjoyable to look at, which makes a big difference. I've played on lots of different maps, and I often find that when you're on a map, it's really nice to have it's like a picturesque map, I guess would be what I would describe it as. And some maps just don't have that, so you're like, you play on them, and then you're like, okay, I'm done. And you don't get excited to play it, I guess, would be the way I would describe it. So like some maps, they're just fun to look at, like fun to play on for a bit, and then that's it. They get they're finished, and that's unfortunate, but it does happen. And I find that, I don't know, because I've played Farm Sim a lot, I find that often I have a hard time finding a map that looks nice and I enjoy playing on. And this is one of those maps that the States is similar, I suppose. It's a nice map, like nicely designed, but I don't find it as picturesque as this map. And maybe I'm a bit biased because I'm Canadian, this is a Canadian map, but I haven't seen many other maps that really have tickled my fancy quite as much as this one. I guess Banticow's up there too. Someone suggested I play on a map called Baldacchino, which is one that Farmer Beavis has been playing on before. He has played on before. I think he's still doing a series on. I can't remember, but it's a huge map as far as I can remember. One of the larger ones. So it's one where you can like have like multiple combines and whatnot. And I don't think it has a SOA mod installed into it, but I think somebody installed it into the map for Farmer Beavis, so he's playing on it. I forget who it is now. Alright, now what if I can do it at 100%? No, wouldn't make sense. I was just curious to see if there's a cruise control setting for... I don't know. Maybe. There might be one. Alright, let's turn this guy off. And we'll go back to our case here. And just check to see compaction. 100%, 100%. This is good. What we'll do is we'll just stop him right in the middle here. And wait for that fence to come around recklessly. And then we can stop the fence whenever it's ready to come around the corner. How full are we here? So we need 60% chaff. So we're at 10% right now. So what we'll do is I'll try and fill this up to 60% as best as possible. We should be able to do it based on... well, maybe we won't. I don't know. We'll see. Technically I could do 70,000 liters of chaff and then 40,000 liters of... or 30,000 or 30 or 40,000 worth of potatoes, and that should be fine. Alright. Let's stop this guy. Like so. We'll move the case out of the way. Excellent. And let's do this again. Again, it's best to spread it out as best as possible, because if you don't, you will have problems. Because what happens is, I believe, if you're not careful, you can turn it into not what does it turn into? I forget. I think it's considered manure or like compost sort of thing, because it's, you can't use it for anything else basically. Which is, you know, kind of interesting that they added that functionality into this. It's not a new mod, it's been around for a long time, just a lot of people don't like the added function of it, for example, just because it's too much. Whatever it happens to be. Everyone's a little different. There we go. That should be good. Let's go ahead and set this guy to drive his course. There we go. And we'll hop in the case once again. And we'll wait for that fent to go back to where it needs to be. And while we're waiting for that to happen, we'll do this. Make sure this is all nice and compact. So it looks like we're getting about 6 to 7% per load, it looks like. Somewhere in that area. So every time we put a load of chaff in here, it seems like 7% or 6% is kind of where it ends up. Somewhere in that area. Which is good. Can we put the... you can't put the differential locks on. Wasn't sure if you could do that with this tractor or not. Some of them, it's funny because some of them you can. It's usually with trucks you'll find it. Some trucks can do it, and some trucks can't do it for whatever reason. And I guess I suppose the reason why is because they're considered a truck as opposed to a tractor. So like if a truck was based off a tractor, for whatever reason, I think what will happen is it will be considered as such, and then you're allowed to put the differential locks and all that jazz on. Whereas if it's considered a truck, it won't. So. Anyways, let's set this guy in his way. I imagine the fent is probably... Oh, look at that. Talk about timing. Perfect. Alright, let's finish up this pass, and I think... I wonder how we're going to do this. Is it better to go up the hill or sideways? I think it's probably better to go sideways. In reality, you probably wouldn't want to go straight up the hill. But that's just me. I have seen quite a few videos of people doing silage in like Ireland and England, and it's just nuts watching them try to do silage in some of the conditions. You know, rain usually is what stops the amount of mud you have just sitting around. Well, not sitting around, but created due to the weather. It's just nuts. Alright, it's gonna go left or right? It's gonna go left side. Perfect. I don't know. I don't know why I don't do silage as often. I don't know why I don't do it very often. But every time I do it, I'm like, oh, this is cool. It's actually the best thing. Well, for me, the most enjoyable aspect is when you have like two tractors going back to back with silage wagons. That's really cool to see that work like that. It's I don't know, one of the more interesting components, and you can do it with multiplayer too. It's really cool, but you can also do it with courseplay as well, of course. So basically all you would need to do technically in that context is you would need to just put the, let's say I wanted to put the case unloading the silage as well. You could easily just have a second tractor and just have it set up that way, going through it. But in this context you really don't need to. I think originally what I had was the placeable silage, silo I should say, that turned chaff into silage automatically, basically. A bit cheaty perhaps, but that's how it works in real life too, so. But I think most people find it a bit on the cheaty side, just because how easy it actually is to use. I think the actual mod itself's only like 50,000 or something like that. It's not very much. Alright, so what I'm going to do is going to make a little headland around the outside here, around what I have left. And that's because I want to give myself a little bit of extra space. Not necessarily at this end, but at the other end there. As I get closer to the trees. Because what will happen is if I don't do this right now, it's going to create just a whole heap of problems, I imagine. And the courseplay guy will probably make a mess of things, like they usually do at some point. I still haven't upgraded to the newest version of courseplay. I should really try that out. I don't really have any maps where I have a crazy amount of courses. Like I think this one has the most, and even that's not that much. Wouldn't be that hard to change it, to be honest with you, or adjust them. But I should. If you want to get the latest version of courseplay, you just go to GitHub. GIT, G as in golf, IT hub. I think it's a .com. I think that's what it is. And they have courseplay The latest it's a developer version as well. Keep that in mind. So, because it's a developer version, you are going to run into problems. Just keep that in mind. So, he's almost full, 80%. I imagine he's going to fill up by the time before we get to the top of this hill. And it's going to make it. What's going to happen? He's going to peel off to the left and run straight into the trees. Just watch this. Actually, there's an easy way to avoid this. There we go. I'll just do this for a second. And that way we can avoid this altogether. 97. One of the nice things is, of course, is with the drive control mod, you can have this particular function right here, which is part of the drive control, which allows you to maintain the same speed as the combine or whatever you're following, basically. Which is really nice, actually. Because that makes it a lot easier. Let's just say that. Alright, let's go this way. Because we have all grass here. It doesn't matter if we drive on it. It's a bit quicker than what we would normally do. Alright, let's hop into that case. Check the compaction, 99%. This is what we're looking for. This is good, so this will allow us to make some forage. Excellent. Love it. Alright, so I think what I'll do is I will unload this last load here, and then I'll stop the episode there. Otherwise, it's going to be a full episode of doing this. And I don't know if everybody wants to see a full episode of just that. So, I will let these guys run. And so this is where it starts to get a little bit more interesting once you get once the bunker gets just a wee bit taller, because then getting up into the bunker becomes a lot more difficult. A lot more difficult. It's not too bad right now, but usually that actually be the other section, but it creates a huge bump and it just becomes very difficult to try and get up into the bunker, basically. So anyways, folks, I'll let that unload the rest there. That still bothers me that it's the silage discharge diffuse plane, they call it. Anyways, folks, that'll be it for me for today. My name's Iain Robson. This has been Farming Simulator 2015 coming at you from Manchester. And if you enjoyed yourself, why don't you go ahead and hit that share button. I really appreciate that. Catch you guys later.